Welcome to Activate, your next level mindset podcast. I am your host, Coach Paul Ibarra, helping you reframe your mindset and activate your purpose so that you can live your life of freedom. Yo, and welcome back to another episode here on Activate Your Next Level Mindset podcast. I'm your host, Coach Paul Ibarra, and I am so excited to be back on this camera and just saying hello to everyone who is coming in on a replay, and those that are coming in live, type that one. Let me know that you are here, and if you are coming in on the replay, hashtag replay. So you know what we do here. We talk all about mindset, identity, assignment, purpose, all of the good things that will get you launched into your future. And so today I've got the privilege of having an awesome interview with a very good friend of mine that I met a few months ago through Life on Fire, and also just through social media and all of those good things. But I'm telling you, get your notepads ready, get your iPad ready, tattoo it on your forehead, whatever you got to do. But this woman of God is going to help you get empowered, especially all you women that are out there. So right now we got April Metzler coming in saying, yo, brother, what's going on, my sister? Get your paper and pen ready. I'm telling you, this is going to be an on fire conversation. All right. So I'm going to bring her up on stage. And so Anna, do us a huge favor, my friend. First of all, welcome to Activate Your Next Level Mindset podcast. Thank you for taking time out of your day to come and join me and join us in our tribe and all of those good things. And also she has recently joined Kingdom Linked Network. So Anna, do us a huge favor, my friend, and introduce yourself. Let us know where you're coming in from, and let's dive into what you do and why you do it.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, thank you, Paul. I'm really to be here. This is like going to end my evening on fire. So I'm excited to be here. And it's honestly, the privilege is mine to be on your podcast because you are yourself on fire. I always have my notepad ready, and I feel like tattooing everything you say on my forehead. So the feeling is mutual for sure. So I appreciate your. But yeah, as you mentioned, my name is Ana Rutherford, and I am coming in from Oklahoma City, and it's a beautiful day outside. And really what I do and my mission is to ignite women to higher levels of influence through coaching, training, and transformational experiences designed to be delivered with excellence and passion. So the reason that I do this is because I actually went through an experience where as a professional, I was going out there after my career, trying to hit career goals, on that journey whenever life kind of derailed me. And I went through trauma, both psychological, emotional, spiritual. So after I broke free from that, or God broke me free from that, I needed to relearn a lot of my professional skills, communication skills, build that foundation of what it meant to see my identity in Christ. And really, in that journey, I also found other women that had experienced similar situations, or maybe not to the same degree, but certainly trauma or adversity in their own life. So that really is my why. It's really what fires me up, and the reason that I continue to show up for other women so that they can continue to be a light in their own communities and in their own families.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love the why. And so as you were talking, just like all of these basic principles of like communication, getting your mindset right,
Yeah.
leading yourself into the right direction. And you also said Oklahoma City, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's awesome. April Metzler is actually from Oklahoma. I'm not sure which part, but
Oh, cool.
I know my sister is from there as well. And I've got a buddy of mine from Texas that's actually moving to Oklahoma City in 2 weeks. So there's
That's
something
very
going on
cool.
in Oklahoma. All I'm saying.
Revival is going
Yes.
on in Oklahoma City.
Yes. That's
Yes.
awesome. So let's talk about the salvation piece. Like, when did that happen? And then what gave you like that epiphany I understand that like you were going through stuff and you're like, you know what, let me teach someone else these principles. But let's
Mhm.
talk about the salvation piece. Like, when was that? How did it happen? And how did that transformation come about for Anna?
Yeah, so it was certainly a journey. I actually grew up Catholic. So a relationship with Christ wasn't something that I knew existed. It was more religion based. So whenever I was 19 years old, actually at 18, I got married, had two kids. So I became like a housewife and a mother all at the same time. And I was approached, I had an encounter with Christ in my living room, actually through a an online network. They were doing service. So I had an encounter in my own living room, which is where I was convicted to leave religion behind and truly follow Christ. And that wasn't perfect. I was certainly still living in sin. I was still fooling myself, but I also didn't know the truth. I wasn't in the word. I didn't know what it meant to follow Christ. I didn't know what it meant to follow those principles. And I just pretended like because I said I was saved, that was good enough, if that makes sense. So, through all of that up until I was about 24 years old, that's whenever I actually got into a relationship where I was broken spiritually, mentally, and emotionally, all of the things. So I kind of fast forwarded, but that for me was a conviction because I was able to find Christ and the true identity of what it meant, of how he saw me. Um, After all of those years of pretending like I was truly saved. Um, I didn't value myself after all those years. I certainly didn't respect myself in the way that I was living life. And there was no way that even though in my career I held a leadership position, there was no way that I was going to be able to develop leaders as the broken individual that I was. And at the time, I don't think that I understood, even though I was emotionally aware, I had that emotional intelligence, the spiritual intelligence was not there. So that was the big thing for me. It was 4 years ago when I truly decided, when I truly was saved, and when I truly, God started working in my life, and I gave it all over to Him to start working. And it completely switched my mindset. It, so that really changed things up for me. I think experiencing how I thought it was, just kind of taking certain things from what it meant to be saved and applying it to my life, and that's not really how it works. And we won't necessarily get into more of those details, but that's being, I guess, broken in all levels of my life and realizing that there was something wrong and what I was doing was not obviously getting me anywhere. Even if I had the best paying job or whatever, like where was I really going? And that was a huge wake up call whenever I lost it all and you know, there was something that needed to change.
I love it. I love the whole fact of just the brokenness, the transformation, even though it was this epiphany, it was this revelation, it was this
Yeah.
moment in your living room or your house or wherever that was, of knowing, okay, well, I'm saved, I'm good. It was that whole transition of real relationship with God
Mhm.
versus the religion piece, because I was raised Jehovah Witness. So I can
Mhm.
totally understand, because we were just taught a certain thing, like all of the things that you can't do. And I'm like, well, what can I do? Like, like if there's
Okay.
something, there's nothing that I can do. Like, I can't celebrate a birthday. I can't get a present on Christmas. I can't go chase eggs on Easter. I can't do none of this stuff. Is there something that I can do that I can do? And so just that transformation almost sounds a little bit similar to my story as well. Even though I was going to church, even though I was checking off the box, even though I was doing
Right.
those things, there was this brokenness on the inside that I wasn't whole. And so
Yeah.
to be able to get to that place of understanding, like there's got to be more than just church.
Right.
There's got to be more. Now again, we're not bashing church,
Yeah.
but the truth is there's got to be more than just going to the building every
Yes,
week. There's got to
that's
be more
huge.
than just going to the altar for the same sin. There's got to be
Mhm.
more than doing these things. And that's where my journey started as well. And it almost sounds like it's a mirror of what you went through
Yeah.
of trying to figure out, okay, well, what's real and what's not, right?
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. No, I love what you just said because um, I've been calling them this week, I've been calling them breadcrumbs. I used to call them winks from God, which are these things that is like you're on track. But you're absolutely right. Checking those boxes, that's where we kind of start to get into that habit of just, I'm checking the boxes, everything's good. But it is more than just the building, it's more than just staying in that place and continuing to be broken. And there's certainly more to life, and it's a freedom that I feel, it's a freedom that we are all capable and we are all gifted with through grace to receive.
That's so awesome. That's so awesome. So let's talk about your coaching. Let's talk about this passion that you have to be able to empower and bring that resilience into the kingdom for kingdom women. So how does that look like? Like how do you get your girls? Is it girls that are in that place of wanting to know more about Christ? Is it wanting to learn more about themselves? Is it empowering them more in just their career? Like, let's talk about
Yeah.
your whole coaching style and how
Yeah.
you have been able to help women and
So,
empower them.
certainly my biggest, so the way that normally women approach me is because they want to gain clarity in their career. So, they want to have that plan of where it is that they're going. So, the women that I work with, normally they're burned out at their current job or they just are looking for that next step. They're not fulfilled where they're at. So, that's normally how they approach me. And within my coaching program, we also, aside from actually getting that blueprint for you and feeding resources into these women that help them achieve certain career goals, also we look at what your values look like and how it is that you look at yourself, your life, because I think that that's a huge reflection. Oftentimes we separate professional and personal, but if you're not aware of it, it's inevitable that you either bring your work to your house, like you bring that home, or you bring your troubles at home at work. So I think it's important to look at the whole picture and just make sure that you're clear who it is that you stand for as a leader. So your values, your core belief, like your own mission statement. So through that, we get to really unpack some of those things based on your values or based on who you want to be. Is that how you're truly acting? There's normally a disconnect. So it's really just about helping women gain more clarity and awareness around what is getting in the way. Like, what are those blocks? Um, it could be a reason that there's always a reason that you're unfulfilled at work. Is it because you're not speaking up? Do we need to develop some of those communication skills? Is it lack of confidence? Are you just not voicing what it is that you want? I've had that happen before where women are like, my job is just horrible, they don't know anything. And through questions and through coaching, they come to believe that it's it could be both a lack of leadership, but also that self advocacy, that step that they're not taking to make sure that they are advocating for themselves.
So good. I love what you said earlier about core values, about not separating the personal and
Mhm.
the business, because
Yeah.
I believe the same thing too. I've got five core values, and it's purpose, power, commitment, discipline, and accountability. And that's for every area of my life, every
Yes.
area of someone else's life. And it took time for me to really gain those core principles that I've stood
Mhm.
on for like the last 2 years, right? Because as we mature, as we grow, core core values or core principles do change,
Yeah.
because before it was just empowering people, helping people, making good money, blah blah blah. Now it's like, okay, if I could teach people what their purpose is, then they'll understand that they have power. And once
Hmm.
they understand their power, now they can be disciplined. And once you're disciplined, now you're committed. And once you're committed, accountability. So if you reverse that, how am I accountable? By being disciplined, committed to the process, right? Understanding that I have power, and now I find my purpose. So all
Right.
five of those, they all go forward and backwards. They all intertwine together. So you are so spot on that everything in our life has to have that heartbeat in the pulse of
Hmm.
what our core values are. Because once we gain those, then everywhere that we go, the Bible says your name is worth more than anything else in your life. So when
Amen.
your
Yeah.
name is established, then everything that you do, no matter if you're here doing ministry or you own a restaurant or you're doing live streams or you're doing a podcast or you're out having dinner with somebody, everyone's going to know Anna for who
Hmm.
Anna is. Like, oh, well, she's this way at work, but then at church she's this way.
Right.
And then she's this way at the club, and then she's this way at dinner.
Not anymore. No.
Not anymore, right?
But no,
So
you're so, yeah.
yeah, so I just love that whole fact of teaching women and people in general, what are your core values?
Yeah.
Like, what do you stand on? If it was to if it was to rain on your parade, I say it this way: if you are what you have and you lose it, then who are you? Right?
That's so good. Yeah.
So we surround ourselves with personal things, and that becomes our status, right? Even me doing live stream, everyone's like, dude, your live streams are rocking, your graphics, you're this, you're that. But if I was to turn these things off, let's just say like right here, right? If I was to turn that off, I'm still Paul, right?
Yeah.
I'm still going to be Paul at the end of the day. So it's all about the perspective of really understanding who we are. And so let's talk about the identity piece of transitioning these resilient women, because I'm sure you've probably worked with some either headstrong women or some that are trying to figure out who they are. So how do you balance those two out? Like, what is your, I would like to know, like, what, like, without names, but like, what's the best story you have? And then what's the worst story you have? Because I have both stories from
Yeah.
coaching people. It's like the blossom, like, oh my God, this person is killing it. And then you've got the one that's like, oh my God, like they just didn't get it. You follow what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So
Yes.
let's talk about that for a minute.
Okay. So that's a really good question. I don't think I've thought about it to that extent, but there's definitely a couple people that come to mind. But yeah, so gosh, the first thing that comes to mind is ego is always in the way. Even the best person, that's one thing that I have found as far as um the same like equal factor that they've both had. The best person and the worst person, they both kind of have had that ego that we've had to work through. Unfortunately, I feel like the worst person didn't quite catch it, but I also think that that comes from not being open to being coachable. And a lot of times, one thing that I have found with these women that I work with, it's just lack of confidence in themselves. Like they don't feel like they can achieve it. It's almost like unnatural for them to think that they could do something that they love or that they could find value in themselves. So I think that coachable part, but I have some of the best women that I've worked with. Um, well, one person that comes to mind, she had the counseling degree on her wall, and a relationship that she got in was similar to mine, where she was mentally abused, emotionally abused, and it was that lack of self identity that she had in that ego, it just blinded the perspective at that time. So I like what you said, when if you take all of these things away, who are you really? And I think that whether you're like both my best client and my worst client, it's like unpacking those things, like who are you really? And a lot of times we don't have that foundation of who it is that we are. And the best women and the women that have seen the transformation, they have seen it because they are no longer looking at themselves through the lens of who the world says that they are, or who their job says they need to be, or who their mom says they need to be, but who Christ says that they are. And what that looks like for them, and being able to almost, and this is something that Nick says in Life on Fire, adopt the self-belief, the belief that someone else has in you. So instead of looking at it as this man or woman, like what do they think about you? Who does Christ say that you are? And when you lay that foundation down, it's almost inevitable for anybody, but especially my clients, to really start to build that self belief and to believe that it's achievable and that they can actually get what they want, which in their career or their personal life.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. It just brings to mind. I actually did this summit last year. Well, not mine, but I was a guest on their summit, and I was addressing this wall, like the Lord just like dropped this revelation. So like this wall right here wasn't created to hold all of these things.
Mm-hmm.
Walls in your house aren't created to hang pictures, right? That's not their assignment, right?
Right.
So when we look at purpose and assignment, identity, this wall, the intention for this wall was to hold up the rest of the walls, hold up the second floor, and keep me safe from all the elements, right? So this wall is drywall, some studs, electricity, and that's it. But you
Mm-hmm.
look at this wall and you don't even know that there is a window behind that picture, right?
Right.
Because somebody has come to that wall and said, you know what? I'm going to dress this wall up the way I want it to be dressed up. Now, no shade on parents, but parents will dress us up in a way that they
Mm-hmm.
think we ought to be, right? Which a
Right.
parent should train their child up in the way that they should go. However, a child also has their own mind.
Mm-hmm.
So when they start getting older and parents start getting frustrated because the way they dressed them a certain way, the way they sorry about that, the way that that they position that wall to look, right?
Yeah.
Now this child begins to grow and mature and wants to dress a different way. Now, of course, there's got to be modesty, there's got to be all of
Mm-hmm.
that. However, the truth is that someone has walked up and changed that wall to what they want it to look like.
Right.
But if you remove that wall, if you remove all the stuff, it's back to being a wall. And so the identity of the wall is really drywall, studs, and electricity. But someone
Mm-hmm.
has come by and placed all these things on this person to make them feel like I have to be this type of wall, when in fact they're like, there's something that I'm not catching, but I don't feel right in this suit. So if we go
Mm-hmm.
back to David, when Saul tried to put his armor on him, he's like, dude, it don't even fit. Like, this isn't even my armor. And so
Mm-hmm.
I think so many times people come by, and because a person that doesn't know who they are will allow them to start hanging stuff on them to
Yeah.
where they think they're this. And then once you remove it, you're like, oh, my whole intention in life was to be a wall. And that's where the
Mm-hmm.
assignment and the purpose gets um, confusing for people, because the truth is that I believe this, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I think we've all gone through those seasons in life of, what's my purpose? Like,
Mm-hmm.
what's my purpose? Why am I here? Well, here's what God showed me about 2 years ago. You're already on purpose. Why? Because you're here, right?
Mm. Yeah.
So once we figure out what our assignment is, then it relieves us of the pressure of our purpose. So once we understand what the assignment in my purpose is, this cup, its purpose is to hold water. The
Right.
assignment is for me to drink the water, right? So the same with our life and our identity, when we free ourselves from trying to figure out what's my purpose, go back to Genesis 1:26 through 28. Let us create man in our image and our likeness, and now let's give them dominion. That's your
Mhm.
purpose. Now you got to figure out what your assignment is, right? So
Right.
instead of trying to be a burger, you were supposed to be a taco, but you've been trying to
Mhm.
be this burger when God is saying, nope, you're a taco. So I know these are crazy analogies, but it's so simplistic because that's how Christ spoke in the gospels, was
Mhm.
parables. And so when we make it simple, and that's what I think and I feel that you teach your clients is, let's keep it simple. Like, what is
Yeah.
the simple thing yet the empowering thing that's going to free you from who you think you're supposed to be? Is that right?
Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. And I like what you said, that with the analogy with the wall, you're putting all of these things on. And that is what happens, absolutely, through your parents. So a lot of your childhood, you've had things put on you. And then as an adult, you have other things put on you. And it's like, who am I really? And it's almost crazy to say it's so simple, but it really is that simple. And when we allow the Holy Spirit to really lead us, and not get in front and try to somewhat take control of the situation, it even also starts to, of course, unravel even more. But I like that wall analogy. Oh, you're muted, Paul.
Uh, that's a rookie move. Um, no, go ahead and keep that analogy, use
Right.
it. I tell people all the time, like use the revelation, because when
Yeah.
somebody catches a revelation, it's not like, well, that was my thing. No, it's like, if you catch it, use it, because when we
Yeah.
start teaching our clients in simple ways,
Hmm.
simplistic ways of, listen, it's not that hard. I think we ourselves, as kingdom builders, as Christians, as believers, have complicated the gospel so much, and we've complicated the relationship so much, we've complicated church so much, that people just want simple again. If you could just give me
Hmm.
simple digestible word, so not so I know exactly what I need to be doing versus what I'm not supposed to be doing. Show me
Hmm.
what I'm supposed to be doing, and the other stuff won't even make sense to me, so I'm not even going to touch it. You know what I'm saying? Now there
Right.
has to be discipline and commandments and all of that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that, people just fly by the seat of the pants, but what I'm saying
Right.
is, teach people what they are purposed to do. Teach
Yes.
them what their assignment is, and let
Yes.
them run with it. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
amen. I love that because it kind of goes saying, it's not about being a church in just the building. Like, how are you equipping your people? How are they going out there and making other disciples? Are you equipping them, giving them the skills? Going back to what you said, what is it that I'm supposed to do? And how do you use that to equip somebody else and then run with it and get other people? But I've definitely been in that place where it was just the building. It was just like something you did, checking the boxes. And again, I had that conviction again. Already saved, already, walking in the spirit. It was like there has to be more. It's not about me. It's not about me just being filled and my cup overfilling. Like, how am I pouring into other women, other men? How am I pouring into my family and making sure that their cup, they know how to fill their cup so that they can go ahead and fill somebody else's cup as well. And it goes back to that identity. Who are you without the graphics, or without the career, or without your spouse, or whatever that may be?
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. I love it all, because there's such a understanding here through this conversation, because I think there's so many people on the face of the planet that are believers, that are
Hmm.
so stuck in the grind of church that they forget who they are. And I think someone needs to be able to free them to say, listen, yes, the building is essential. That's where I learned a lot of
Hmm.
my stuff. But just like you, I got saved on my couch
Mm.
before a
Wow.
church service.
Right.
I gave my heart to God, and I said, when I go to church, I'm going to just unpack whatever it is. I'm going to go to this thing called the altar. I don't even know what happens at the altar, but I'm going. I just know that I have to be there, but I was saved on my couch.
Mm-hmm.
So the building is essential because that's where we get fed. That's where community is and all of that. But if it becomes a community center, that's not what it's about. Or or should I say, if it becomes just a place that's just another mixer, because I
Right.
also believe that the church ought to be open for community to come in, not just one certain type of people, not just one certain type of vibe, right? And that's a whole different conversation. But understanding that our relationship with Christ and learning our true identity, that's what you're doing for the body, is empowering these women to know. Let's go back to the word. What does the word
Mm-hmm.
say about you? How are you going to apply this so that you can get to that next level? And
Right.
so I'm just so thankful that you've come on to Activate Your Next Level Mindset podcast. Do us a huge favor. How do we find you? Do you have any free offers? Do you have an offer that you have? Like, break that down for us
Yeah.
before we go.
Thank you. Yeah, no, thank you for having me. And I do have a free strategy call. So if you go to my website, you're able to grab the link there, anarutherford.com. I can also pop the link in the comment section of Facebook or YouTube. I'm sure I can send you the link and we can post it. But yeah, that's definitely the best way to get on the phone and kind of go from there.
Awesome. So I've put the link up on the screen, anarutherford.com. I've checked out the website. She is thebomb.com. And so yeah, go and look her up, follow her here on Facebook as well. And she will be added to the Kingdom Link Network group as well. So you can definitely see her there. And then when we do our promo in the group, she'll put her links up as well. So Anna, if you have any final thoughts or anything that you want to add, go on ahead. If not, then we will close this podcast out.
Yeah. I'm just thankful. And I also want to give you a huge shout out with Kingdom Link Network, because I've been really excited to get on the podcast since the first time that we spoke, because there was definitely like a spark, like a conversation that started to be built where I felt we were both on the same wavelength when it came to leadership and equipping other people. So it was just exciting to be here today. And I'm really excited to continue to see what you're building with Kingdom Link Network. And yeah, check it out, everybody.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much
Absolutely.
for that shout out. And I agree. That's why I was like, you know what? We need to do a podcast because it's
Yeah.
all about leadership, identity, community, networking, the whole nine. So listen, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to Activate Your Next Level Mindset podcast. Follow Ana Rutherford. You will not be sorry. But thank you once again, my friend, for coming on. And with that being said, that's all I got for today. I will be back next week on Wednesday morning with I don't even have a name for it, but Wednesday, we'll just call it Wednesday Wisdom on Activate Your Next Level
There you
Mindset
go.
podcast. All right. So you guys be blessed, and we'll catch you on the next one. All right. Peace. Welcome to Activate Your Next Level Mindset podcast. I am your host, Coach Paul Ibarra, helping you reframe your mindset and activate your purpose so that you can live your life of freedom.